I'm Adam Jacobs. I am a creative director at Quintus Studios, who are based in Berlin. And in my role as creative director, I work with producers on our original content, so Quintus Originals. And I work with both freelancers and production companies to develop ideas, develop shows, commission them, go into production, and then put them onto our AVOD channels. The route that I took, which was quite a long time ago now, you know, it still works, and you can obviously start off as an intern and go to a production company or go to a distributor or channel, whatever you want to do, if that's what you want to do. But at the same time, if you want to create content, just go out there and do it yourself. Like, learn how to, you know, pick up a camera and work a camera and go and do it. And I'll be honest, like, that's something that I wish I'd done more of when I was younger, because I've always been on the kind of outskirts where I've straddled this line between creative and commercial, and it's absolutely fine. But if I was looking back and, you know, to my younger self when I was 18 and like, oh, I'm kind of thinking about a media career, I would say to, like, why don't you just go and pick up a camera, or just go out on more shoots, or, you know, get some more hands-on experience. There's a lot of things that I'd worked on in my career that I was very passionate about, and I'd worked, you know, done some great shows at Discovery and worked with some talent. But I realised I hadn't actually worked on anything that I'm really personally invested in. So after I left Woodcut, so at the end of January 2020, I started developing my own ideas around things that I'm genuinely passionate about. So this is in the arts and culture and music and fashion. And I'd not really done much development before this, but I just thought, well, if I don't do it, I'm never going to. And then using my experience of seeing and reviewing all of these pitches, then also using my network that I built up over the course of several years, I was in a position to take it to production companies. You know, people that I'd commissioned in the past, I could take ideas to and say, look, I've written this up, you know, how about we collaborate on it? And it worked, and it was successful. The same with channels. You know, you get to know other, you know, they might be your rivals, but you go to certain events, and just because they're your rival, they might do the same job as you, and maybe they're meeting the same, you know, same production companies and you know, they're trying to get the same idea off the ground. But you just never know, like, in your career, when you're going to come across people again. So yes, they're your rivals, but you'd speak to the commissioning editor at UK TV or Channel 4 or Channel 5 or whoever it may be, because later down the line you might then have an idea which you want to take into them, and they're like, oh yeah, of course, Adam, I remember you. You used to be, you know, you used to work at Discovery Channel, and that's something that I found really useful. So, like, your network, I'd say, is absolute gold. It's really, really important. I think it's a very hard industry to get into. I think you've really got to force your way into it. I mean, it's interesting because I've just started speaking to people that are not in the industry at the moment, young people, or some that are even actually a bit older, who just want to get in the industry and just don't know how. They feel that they're too old, and it is tough to crack. I mean, I think, you know, even in terms of internships, or people going to get some work experience at production companies, I feel like, and this is through no fault of their own, but it's like, you know, the company MD's daughter or son goes in to be an intern, because why would you not get your daughter or son in? Or it being, you know, a friend of the family has got you know, works in the industry and can get you a job here. So I think if you're starting out, I think it's very difficult. But what I would say is to make yourself as attractive as possible is, you know, try and be as multifunctional as possible. And I would say this is something that I maybe am now, but I wasn't when I was really young starting out. So if you can come out and you're like, well, actually, I can self-shoot, but also I can do a bit of editing, but also I know someone that does post. You know, you're just making yourself stand out. So if you're going in and someone's saying, well, why should I hire you? You know, you're not just reliant upon the degree, like, well, I've got a degree in film studies or whatever. Like, if you can actually say, well, I've actually done this and I've gone and shot this little short film or whatever, like, that would be my advice. How do you actually get your idea off the ground? I'd say, you know, if you look at a lot of the broadcasters now, they're, you know, especially say like Channel 4, for example, they are, you know, they're looking at short form content, they're looking at digital only content. They're not only looking at kind of like your big name A-list, B-listers, talent driven. They're looking for someone that's got, you know, just something about them. And I think that is a great thing now, is that it is much more open to everybody. Like if you want to be a presenter, then go and be a presenter, because there's nothing really anything holding you back. And I do think that channels and networks are much more open to, you know, having someone that's an unknown come onto the channel. And the other thing is that what you can do is, and what content creators have done is, well, I've built up a small following on Snap and I've got like 2 million followers, or I've got a Facebook channel, or whatever it may be. You take that into a channel and it's absolute gold, because they're still always looking for that young audience. And you know, young people still want to watch, you know, TV shows, but what they want to watch if they're watching TV is people that are their peers. It's like, oh yeah, I follow them on Facebook and now they're going to be on Channel 4. That's pretty cool. So I think it is much more open than it used to be.